Greek Islands with Julia Bradbury. Brought to you by TUI Tours.
The Greek islands are held with great affection in the hearts of us Brits. Every year, 3 million of us head there for our holidays. And it's easy to see why.
This is Greece, and look at that.
I have a strong affinity with the islands. My mum is Greek. Although she despairs that I still can't speak the lingo.
Orthios na sevloi. I'm proud of my Greek heritage, my Greekness.
Look my nose.
My nose.
But I've only holidayed here, and I've never really explored beyond the tourist trail.
Here we go.
Until now. I'm going to see the hidden side.
It's so beautiful.
Hello, everybody!
Look at it, it's so lush.
From the historical and rugged terrain of Crete
Oh, I think I pulled.
to the glamour of a sunset in Santorini.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Thank you. Oh, look.
But I'll also be taking in the lesser-known islands, from the architectural splendor of Symi to the natural wonder of Skopelos.
Oh, it makes me proud to be just that little bit Greek.
Before ending my journey on the island where my family story first began.
This is a voyage of discovery, and I'm taking you with me. So as you arrive towards Corfu, it's very impressive. Beautiful buildings, very structurally imposing, and very Italian-looking.
They say Corfu is the least Greek of all the Greek islands.
I was talking to my dad before I left for this trip, and when I mentioned Corfu, he said, "Oh, yes. I think you'll find they have their own cricket club." But I'm expecting the British influence to be quite strong, I think, here in Corfu, because Brits have been coming here on holiday since the 50s. So I'm sure they've left their mark, good and bad.
And so have many other countries. Corfu has spent 7 centuries under foreign rule, making this island a cultural melting pot. Located off the west coast of northern Greece, Corfu has only been a Greek island since 1864. Its capital is Corfu town, and it really doesn't look Greek at all.
Oh, come on. Seriously. It's as if I'm in Venice. Honestly, if you hypnotized me and then plopped me down here and said, "Where are you?" I would bet good money that it was Venice. It's like San Marco Square.
That's because Corfu was ruled by the Venetians for 4 centuries. And my dad Michael was right. They really do play cricket here. Just as surprising as cricket is the abundance of kumquats everywhere, a fruit that's more at home in South Asia.
And in case you don't know what a kumquat is, it's this little thing. It's it's like this big. It's a tiny little citrus fruit. I do know what it is because I happened to taste one when I was 20, and I love them. So I'm quite excited that it's such a big deal over here.
They make everything out of it. Sweets, marmalades, liqueurs.
Definitely a good little gift idea. Look at that. Who wouldn't like that? Gathering dust in their drinks cabinet at home.
And not forgetting the kumquat ice cream.
Happy face. That is an exotic flavour. It tastes like an orange mixed with a lemon with a bit of grapefruit. And it was a Brit that brought kumquats to Corfu, a British botanist. I really like them.
It's Corfu's location on the major shipping route that's responsible for oddities like the kumquat. And another Corfiot obsession, spices.
Smoked sea salt, veggie mix, fish and seafood, sweet and spicy potato. Why? Why so many spices?
Now, the Greeks like their spices, but this is a whole new level.
Hello, Katerina.
Hi, welcome.
My nostrils are tingling. What a lovely smell.
welcome.
This aromatic shop is owned by Katerina, and it's her passion. She's a real-life spice girl.
You've got spices from all over the world here.
Well, all of the blends that you see, I personally make them.
So tell me a little bit about the history of Corfu and why there are so many spice shops here.
Well, we were blessed to be part of the Venetian era over 400 years. The Venetians had Corfu, so...
They gave you the lovely buildings.
Yes, yes. Corfu was probably the first island or the area in Greece that had spices.
So this was on the spice route, the Silk Road.
The Silk Road, exactly.
The famous Silk Road.
Yeah.
So they really are spices from all over the world.
Absolutely.
And now the Corfiates.
The Corfiates, yes.
The Corfiates have adopted.
Absolutely. We have
all
most of
these.
the names of the dishes that they have here in Corfu are Italian names because of the Venetian era.
So what are some of the spices that are particular to Corfu that you won't find anywhere else in Greece?
There's the blend that we have, the most famous one, which is the pastizzata blend.
Pastizzata.
Pastizzata.
That's the tricky bit because it's a sound.
It's like a TS.
Yeah, tzada. Pastizzata.
Bravo,
Okay,
bravo.
okay.
You're good. Bravo, good.
And please tell me that bubbling over there is pastizzata.
Oh, yes, it is. I cannot have you here and not taste pastizzata.
Pastizzata is a 100% Corfiate dish, the signature dish of the island. They eat it at family gatherings on a Sunday, kind of like our Sunday roast. And it's heavy on the spice.
Oh, good Lord.
I know. Inside there is cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, allspice, a bit of salt and pepper, some chili pepper, paprika, okay? And I also add a pinch of cumin inside.
In another nod to the Italians, they serve it on a bed of pasta.
It's kind of a hassle, this type of pasta, but
Oh, okay, this is
that's the whole fun part.
pretty. I apologise now.
There you go. How is it? Okay. Okay, I can tell by the look at your face you love it.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm happy.
The flavours, Katerina, are
The aftertaste.
incredible.
The aftertaste is incredible, yeah.
You know what I can taste? I can taste the love. Corfu on a plate.
Well, now I need to work off that pastizzata. A good job that Corfu is a great place for walkers. There's a 220-kilometre path called the Corfu Trail that zigzags through the heart of the island from the north to the south. It takes hikers into landscapes untouched by mass tourism. In the north of the island, it's brought me to one of Corfu's best-kept secrets, the abandoned village of Old Perithia. Hidden in the valley of Corfu's highest mountain, this Venetian wonder is a 14th century time capsule.
Julia.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, great to see you.
Oh, good to see you as well.
Mark is a Brit who runs a B&B in the village with his wife Saskia. They're the driving force behind the restoration of the Old Perithia.
Saskia and I kind of happened upon it about 12 years ago, and we came up here, not really with any intention of doing anything. We just read about a ghost village and wanted to have a look.
So this essentially was an abandoned village.
Yeah.
Why?
The tourist trade kind of started up in the 50s, 60s. And until then, there wasn't tourism. People didn't want to be by the sea. And at that time, the sort of old culture was that you gave land by the sea to the daughters because it was worthless. It was salty, you couldn't grow anything there. The villages would be for the sons. And of course, that all flipped round when tourism started.
So they just walked away.
So they just walked away. And then nature pretty much took over the whole village.
During the 14th century, Corfu was constantly being raided, so the Venetians built Perithia as a hidden village, where you could see but not be seen.
Because of the pirate attacks on the island,
Pirate, like real life pirates.
real life pirates, Turks, Saracens type of thing,
Yes.
people who owned the houses would have chambers underneath where they could hide like this, and they would either put their possessions or themselves down here.
This was the
And
hiding
it made it
spot.
safe, yeah.
In its heyday, this village was home to around 1,500 people. But that's hard to imagine looking at the buildings today.
I've got a bit of form renovating old properties, but I have to say, I haven't taken on anything quite as challenging as this.
When Mark arrived, there were only 2 permanent residents. Now, there are up to 20 people who call Perithia home.
If you look back here, You start to see how big the village is.
You do.
How
And
intact.
actually, a lot of those buildings don't look derelict.
They look so bad.
Of the original 130 houses, a third of them are now restored or in the process. Properties sell here anywhere from €100,000 to €1 million. But it's not just the houses that have been given a new lease of life.
This church has only recently been restored and reopened, and it had its first baptism after 60 years, just last year.
How old is the church?
I think it dates from about 1300, because the village records go back to 1357. And all of these frescoes were covered in lime. So it was a painstaking process to pick everything off the walls here.
Aren't they beautiful?
It's quite special.
It is very special.
The rejuvenation of the village has even begun to entice back some of the original residents.
Kalispera, I'm good. How are you?
Vasilis.
Nice to meet you.
Vasily is the local beekeeper. He's recently returned to his ancestral home, selling his honey to passing tourists.
How are the bees today? Are they feeling happy and calm?
The bees, you happy, they're happy, everybody's happy. If you love your job, you make a lot of honey.
Vasily spends his days tending to his 7 million bees who live in the 90-year-old pastel blue hives he inherited from his grandfather.
Oh, look at this.
You see the
Oh, there's
queen?
the queen, yeah.
Isn't that just magical?
Astonishing, yeah?
That is the queen
Yeah,
bee.
this is the queen bee.
She likes us, the queen bee. She's hanging around.
There was a 1 in 80,000 chance of seeing the queen bee. Amazing.
I grow up here with my father in this place. We have the bees for my grandfather, my father, me, and we continue with my kids,
How old are your children?
8 and 5.
Amazing.
Yes.
So you're handing down this.
Yes, they work
to your
with me.
generation.
Yeah, we continue, I think.
Yeah.
What a life, what an existence. It's beautiful.
Perithia was built as the village that couldn't be seen. But now, thanks to the love of these guys, it's finally getting the audience it deserves.
What a special, magical place. And ironically, it was tourism that drove the original settlers away from this village, made it a ghost town. They were chasing the tourist dollar, heading to the coast, heading to the sea. And now it's tourism that brought everybody back and breathed new life into this place.
With a heavy heart, I'm saying my goodbyes to Perithia. But the south of the island beckons, and another majestic Venetian import.
The Greek Islands with Julia Bradbury. Brought to you by TUI Tours. The Greek Islands with Julia Bradbury. Brought to you by TUI Tours.
I'm in the Greek island of Corfu, and it's not what I was expecting.
If I told you that I was standing here looking out over the island of Corfu, I wouldn't believe me. Look at it, it's so lush and green, and as far as the eye can see, those are olive trees.
I followed the Corfu Trail south to the wild west coast of the island.
This is the tranquil side of Corfu, the peaceful side. Still steeped in history and tradition, but not invaded by tourism.
The landscape here feels like one endless olive grove. The Venetians brought them here in the 16th century, and now there are as many as 4 million olive trees on the island. Not surprisingly, today, olive oil is the most important product of Corfu. Brothers Spiros and Yorgos Daphnis were born into the olive oil business, and they're the architects of an olive oil revolution on the island.
I didn't understand until now how important the olive tree was to Corfu, and there are so many olive trees here.
The olive tree for Corfu and the Corfiots was and remains a living symbol. The majority of the trees around us are between 200 and 500 years old, while the oldest olive trees are even more than 1,500. And you know what, Julia? The incredible feeling, even for us, is anytime we go for harvesting, to realize how many persons and how many generations before of us did exactly the same thing to the same tree, and how many times this tree gives back again and again and again with generosity its own fruits. It's like a contract between human and nature.
So, Julia, let me show you actually our real mother. Well, it's actually...
This is your real mother?
Yes, yes.
I like her already. Oh, it's just like steps.
Yes.
It's not. I can do that.
This wonderful ancient tree was where the boys would play as youngsters and as adults work together now on business ideas.
If I say that we have a great duty today, not only to continue this tradition, but to develop it, to deliver something better from what we receive.
When the two brothers took control of their family business, they inherited a struggling product. Years of prioritising quantity over quality had left the reputation of Corfu olive oil on its knees. They produced a lot of it, but it wasn't very good.
It was like a bet for us to make it something better, to change it. So it's like we sail in unknown waters. So we start with a great vision and a passion that we will succeed.
Spiros and Yorgos turned the rulebook on its head and completely changed the way olive is harvested.
What happens in the past is simply setting under the trees these black plastic nets and waiting until the olives fall alone on the ground. We have to show everybody else that there is an alternative way of collecting the fruits when they are healthy and fresh. We are using the machine that my father right now is working with, or the old but simple way of collecting the fruit. Julia, would you like to try?
Of course.
Let me make you producer for a minute.
Yes. There we go. We've got lots of young, lovely olives. I mean, it's very rewarding, but it takes a long time. I need to have a go with that machine.
Will you try, really?
Yes, of course.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
This clever bit of kit gently tickles the olives from the trees.
I'm getting a lot of leaves. I'm not sure about the olives.
The brothers' philosophy is all about freshness, harvesting the olives when they're alive, when they're young and full of flavour.
I tell you what, that is hard work. I couldn't do that for 12 hours. Respect.
Thank you very much.
Once they're collected, the olives are brought here to the processing area. They're washed, squeezed, and the olive oil is extracted.
It's a really nice process to watch. And it smells just very earthy.
Within a few years, Spiros and Yorgos have turned Corfu olive oil from a product with a dreadful reputation to one of the very best award-winning oils in Greece.
What I want you to do, Julia, is I want you to take one last deep breath from the olive oil, just like this.
Yeah.
And then I want you to take an olive oil drop in your mouth, close your lips, keep it closed, and then for two, 3 seconds, I want you to turn it around so to feel it everywhere in your mouth, and between your teeth, take a fast and deep breath like that.
I've been to yoga classes that are less complicated. Okay.
Take an olive oil drop, close your lips, perfect, leave it slowly go down, take a deep breath. You must feel a bitterness in the back of your tongue and a spicy sense in your throat. Well,
all of that is very spicy, very bitter.
Something I forgot to tell you about.
I thought you were my friend. I thought we bonded today.
Well,
it certainly packs a peppery punch, but olive oil is also thought to have health benefits. In fact, the legendary Greek physician Hippocrates described it as the perfect medicine.
Yamas.
Cheers, yamas.
I'm not ready to leave this corner of Corfu just yet. I came here to discover secrets of the Greek islands, and one particular local secret has definitely caught my attention. Eva, who works at the olive farm, has offered to tell me more.
Everyone comes here from the village, you can see it's very nice.
It's beautiful. The sunset is just lovely.
Nice. Also, here we do a specific thing, something that locals do.
Ah, okay. This isn't quite what I was expecting. What are we going to do with that?
Well, this is something that the local people use here whenever they come in this beach.
It's mud, it's clay.
Yeah, exactly.
Clay.
Well,
Okay, so what do we do? Where do we put it?
you take this one and you put it into your skin like this.
Oh, okay, and it's good for you.
Yeah, it's very good.
This clay comes from the cliffs around us, and the locals swear it's the best thing to draw toxins from the skin.
That's a good noise. Am I going to look 10 years younger after this?
Or 20 years younger.
I love you. I'm going to go for the face. I'm going to try a bit on the face.
Of course, it's very nice.
Let's get the blood running. Didn't really picture doing anything like this on my visits to Corfu.
But as you come, you have to.
You've got to. Do what
Yes.
the locals do. Embrace it.
I've seen a lot on this island that's been left by other cultures. But this is undeniably Corfiot.
The water is just so lovely, so warm. And obviously, after the old clay, look at me. I'm like 30 years younger, at least.
I'm really sad that my time's come to a close here on Corfu. It may be the least Greek of the Greek islands, but it's no less special for that.
Getting off the beaten track here in Corfu has been a real surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be so lush and so green. And the Corfiots aren't embarrassed by all the other cultures that have left their mark on the island.
In fact, they've embraced those influences and made them their own. And that's what makes Corfu so unique. Next time my journey takes me to glamorous Santorini, the supermodel of the Greek islands.
Impossibly scenic, gorgeous views.
I'll be on the hunt for the locals' tip for the top spot to see its famous sunset.
Oh, in the memory bank.
And escaping the crowds for a walk on its wild side.
This is definitely unspoiled, this island, isn't it? It's quite mad, really.
The Greek Islands with Julia Bradbury. Brought to you by TUI.